Well, I want to sit here and make fun of the Cubs, but by the time this thing hits the old website, it could be 1-1.
Could be 1-1, or there could be 1-0 still if the rain doesn't hold off
True.
and
True.
they're allowed to play because they pushed it up an hour earlier. But Corey Kluber was good, really good. Lester wasn't bad, but Corey Kluber was really
It
good.
was kind of fun to watch, wasn't it?
It was.
There's a couple of guys who might not be perhaps rooting for the
I
Cubs.
got to admit that I thought of Steve Bartman. Yes.
Maybe we can just leave Bartman.
Or leave him out of it. Leave the goat out of it too.
Terry Francona 9-0 in World Series games. I'm hoping that he gets to 12-0.
I am too.
That would be some sort of record, probably.
A small part of me though feels bad for the Cub fans who are actually diehard fans who have been and not bandwagon jumpers. But
the small.
No, minute. It's minute. Yes.
All right, we're coming at you a day later than usual, but stick around. This week's episode of Extra Points starts now. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Extra Points. I'm Eric Schmolt alongside John Barry. We get together every week to talk about everything sports around here, around the state, around the country if we're talking World
Worldwide.
Series. But,
worldwide. We're like wide world of sports.
Yeah, I think we had a hit last week from France.
Wow.
Probably another from
yeah,
Germany.
probably had one from all parts of the world.
We usually just sit here and make things up, so this week will be no different.
No, nothing.
We are a day later than usual, so we apologize to those
all
6 or 7 diehard fans out there that look
Yes.
for us every Wednesday afternoon. We're coming at you Thursday morning now, so as we said in the intro, we're not sure where the World Series stands, but as we sit here and shoot this on a Wednesday afternoon in the middle of a rainstorm, we're feeling pretty good that the Cubs are behind. So
yes, we are, and I still think they're the better team. They have better pitching, but if Kluber gets to go 3 games,
they said now
they could be in trouble.
He's going to start Game 4.
Yes,
would be able to start a Game 7, but I'm hoping it doesn't even make it that far.
And Kyle Schwarber, that's crazy, man. That guy hadn't picked up a bat in 6 months and comes out and rakes a double and walks, and just that's crazy.
And the number 9 hitter with 2 home runs.
That'll tell you how good he is. Yeah, that's Perez. That's
you don't get that out of your 9.
He could retire right now and his life is made. He could just walk away from the game right now.
We'll see where baseball goes from here. Obviously, it heats up in Chicago over the weekend. You're not going to pay like $10,000 to go.
I looked at standing room only ticket, $2,500 for a standing room only ticket. That's crazy, but people will pay it.
They're charging like $250 just to get into a bar to watch the game on TV.
$45 parking. The rooftop across the street was $1,900. Was the cheapest one I saw. So.
What's the most you would pay to get into a bar to watch the greatest sporting event in history? If I told you the Badgers were going to win the national championship,
that would have been Dan Marino in the Super Bowl, and I would have probably paid the $9 I had in my pocket at the time to get in. Yes.
Yeah. No thanks. I'm not paying. I don't want to pay any cover charge at a bar, but if it's more than about $5,
I have a TV at home.
Suppose we could get into some more local things.
Yeah, let's get local.
Here. You want to go high school?
Sure. All right.
Let's go over some high school football. We're going into the second round here this Friday, and we've got 3 area teams left to rehash from last Friday. The Rock Valley, took a bit of a hit last week.
What I'm writing about in my football weekend is that usually I'm used to bashing the Big 8, but the Big 8 actually was representative. But the Rock did not have a good Friday night, opening night. Talked to Jim Mathias from Broadhead, Judah, and he said for them it was just they got behind early and dug themselves a hole. But really, I got a chance to see Fort Atkinson just dismantle Evansville Albany, and I'm not sure what happened. I think Evansville's better than that, but just didn't play well. And Jefferson ran up against the buzzsaw. Bigfoot got in a hole early, and you're right. It was a tough day for the Rock Valley.
East Troy, a decent game at Platteville, but didn't make it through. So the only team left is Clinton, which is a team that drops down to Division 5.
Right.
We talked about that last week and how that helps the Cougars, and they'll match up with 4th-seeded Arcadia on Friday night.
And you and I both like them to make some serious noise in the postseason.
I think they win this one, and then really I think some big tests.
Yeah, Lancaster,
after that.
I think will be a test. Yes.
So the Cougars, they didn't really have any trouble last week. I got a chance to see them over there in the first round. Didn't expect them to really have any trouble, but they didn't.
No.
They just got some great playmakers. I think it always seemed the games that I've seen so far this year, Jordan Jones, whether it's a pick or a punt return or something, when he gets the ball in his hand, he just seems to make the one big play to really kind of put them in motion. And from there, that ground game, it's pretty tough to stop.
Like I say, there's so many things going in their favor right now that, like I say, they're going to be a tough out because They're a team that is well equipped on both sides of the ball. They're athletic, and you don't think it's that big of a deal, but falling down to Division 5 is that's a big plus for them.
Well, I think it was Badger coach Matt Henschler that said that he thought that moving up to D1, people were making too big of a deal of it, and it was all talk and
they'll
all
be
hype. But
they'll see their best team in the
when
year.
you drop down, I think as we saw from
Yep.
Delavan-Darien and Clinton, that does help you.
It does.
Maybe more so. Maybe it helps more so to drop a division than it does hurt when you go up one.
Yeah.
But we'll have a chance to see if he's right, because Badger now has to go through the Big 8 gauntlet here, starting with Verona on Friday night in their second round Division 1 game, and Verona took out Arrowhead in the first round. So I think, to me, this could be a real slugfest.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think obviously Verona's the best team Badger will see all year. I know Waterford is good, and Wilmot was a nice team, but this will be the best team they've seen. Very athletic offensively. They're very solid. They know what's coming in that counter trap and that ISO, and most teams just can't stop it. But I think when you look at that bracket, what happened to Sun Prairie? That's crazy. Not only did they get beat by La Follette, a team they'd beaten handily a week before, they got killed.
And it was the La Follette quarterback was out in week 9, so that was Patton. Most of the problem there, and probably losing that so lopsidedly, I guess, was that he was out in week 9. He was back for the playoffs, which you wouldn't think, wow, that represents a 50-point turnaround or
That's
whatever
crazy,
it was. But it seemed like, I guess, just kind of from reading some stories about it, that La Follette, they played the first half with Sun Prairie pretty evenly, and then they just got things clicking in the third quarter, and all of a sudden it was a blowout.
Yeah, that's hard to believe. And so now you're down with La Follette and Middleton, which I would favor the Cardinals, but La Follette beat them earlier. And then you go Verona at Badger. Again, Badger's been so good, so consistent, and they just find a way. The Badgers just find a way, and I would expect both of those games to be close. I haven't picked the Badger-Verona game yet, but I probably will go with the Badgers just because you can't go wrong with them, because they're always, like I say, they find a way, and a bracket that's still wide open. And I think when you look at the bottom half, obviously, Franklin's the team everybody's talking about, but you can't worry about that now. You got to look at not level 2. We've decided we're going to call them second round games.
We don't need levels.
We don't need levels, right?
We're not carpenters.
No, we're not.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Badger can run through what I would call, it's like a Big 8 schedule here in the playoffs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we'll see if they can continue to keep that going. Those games 7 o'clock on Friday night.
Right.
In Division 3, we mentioned Delavan-Darien briefly, but
great win for the Comets.
I guess to go back, when Sun Prairie lost, that was the first time a number 1 team lost to an 8th-seeded team since they started kind of seeding them this way in 2012. So that was kind of the big upset. But around the state, there were, I think, 5 or 6 number 7 seeds that beat number 2 seeds. And Delavan-Darien was one of them, going on the road to beat Mount Horeb Barneveld. And, when we talked about that game last week, I think we kind of glossed over it because we kind of just thought Mount Horeb was a program that was pretty entrenched and was just going to take care of business. But the Comets really dominated that game, and they needed overtime to eventually win because they gave up 2 touchdowns in the final 5 minutes. But up until that point, they had dominated that.
And I think one of the things that one of the reasons we weren't as high on the Comets as obviously we should have been was because they struggled at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. They struggled coming down the stretch, didn't play their best. Brett, their coach, admitted that, and they found a way to get it done in the playoffs. And another huge test this week. They go to Pewaukee and play the Woodland Conference champion team, and another test. But hey, they're still playing.
Well, to me, if you've gone out there and won one big game on the road that nobody expected you to win, now you're playing. You got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. No.
And so why, as Coach St. Arnold put it, he's told his players, hey, we beat the number 2 team, so we're the number 2 seed now.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they got to, I think they'll go in feeling fine. And I don't know, Pewaukee took care of Jefferson pretty handedly last week, but, you never know, and it's a team that's dropped down, and I think it could be interesting again. I'm not, I guess now a week later, I'm not going to say they're not going to have a chance.
No,
on
I'm
this
not
game
either. Not at all.
They've proven that they belong.
And I have to admit, I was surprised when I saw the final of the Comets last week, and not only I was surprised early on when looking at Twitter that they were leading. I think it was 21-7 at one point, and I'm like, wow, that's That's impressive because Mount Horeb Barneveld was, they were the runner-up to Wanakee, and we all know how good Wanakee is. And, it's just a matter of that's why the regular season, yeah, things matter in the sense that you win conference championships and that, but it didn't matter in this case is because Delavan, like we say, they kind of limped into the postseason, but boy, they had found fresh legs last Friday, and they're moving on.
I think it says something, too. When it was kind of fun to watch the same thing. Okay, 21-7, wow, they're kind of sticking it to them a little bit. Then when they give up those 2 touchdowns late, I'm like, oh,
they're
done.
Yep.
They're done. There's no way they're going to win this in overtime after you give up 2 late, and they did. They
did.
They won it in the first overtime, and here they
From
are.
the 10-yard line, yeah.
Yes, there's some weird officiating going on, but I'm going to...
We'll let that go.
Yeah.
We'll let that go.
We called them out a little bit in the
we
column, and we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
The winner of that Pewaukee-Delavan game gets Monroe or Fort. You saw Fort.
I was
you
impressed
know they're
with
good,
Fort.
and I think that was a week 8 or 9 game in the Badger South, and I think it was a close game there. And Monroe's undefeated, but they have had a lot of close games, and I think Fort can give them another.
I'll tell you what, Preston Strasburg, the running back for Fort Atkinson's impressive. Good-sized kid, ran hard, and Evansville Albany. I hate to say it because they had a great year. We're never in that game. I mean, it was 14-0 less than 5 minutes in, and yeah, Evansville Albany got within a touchdown, but that was it. 21 more points by Fort to end the half, 35-7 at the half, and we were a missed extra point from being a running clock almost the entire second half. So hats off to the Blackhawks. Again, I wasn't trying to minimize what they accomplished by saying that they didn't deserve the seeding. I just felt like with Evansville Albany winning a conference title, they should have been rewarded at some point for doing that.
Well, that's the thing, is people I think are going back to and favoriting things on Twitter and things where we were digging. It doesn't, and even the fact that Fort blew the doors off of them doesn't change the fact that Evansville Albany should have been the number 4 seed.
They should have been.
Bracket.
Yes, they should have got a home
game. If you looked at the records and the things that these teams deserved based on what they did in the regular season, they deserved the number 4 seed.
I agree.
They didn't get it, and maybe they would have got blown out at home too. But that doesn't change the fact that they should have been the number 4 seed.
I thought Steve Mahoney, the Fort Atkinson coach, because obviously it was the first thing that I asked him after the game because I wrote about it. He said, "You know what, John?" He said, we didn't talk about the seeding. He goes, "This game was played between the white lines, between 2 good teams," and he's right. And he said, "We didn't feel like we had anything to prove. We just think we're a pretty good team, and we felt like, you know what, we're good enough to win this game, and we're good enough to beat Monroe, and I guess I wouldn't be surprised if they did."
I mean, at this point, any 4 of these teams came out of that side of the bracket, I wouldn't really be shocked.
I wouldn't either. No.
But I would expect them to run into Catholic Memorial, and I would expect Catholic Memorial
then I would
to
be
make
shocked.
the state champion.
Then I would be shocked.
I would
if somebody
expect
came out of there.
Catholic Memorial at Camp Randall. So.
Catholic Memorial is head and shoulders, and that's what I wrote about last week when I made my predictions. Is they are more like a factory over there.
And then we mentioned Division 5, 7 o'clock second round games this week. Arcadia at Clinton, and the winner gets Lancaster, or is it Laconia or Lasonia?
Lasonia.
Okay, we'll go with the soft C there.
The soft C, yes. Go Cougars.
7 o'clock games on Friday. I don't
Yes.
think, have any of the games around the state been changed to Saturday?
There's been a couple Saturday ones. Owen Withey, I know, played an afternoon game last week because my guess is they don't have lights. So that would be my guess. Darlington used to be like that, but I think they now have lights. But
there's so far mostly sticking around.
Most of the facilities are able to play on Friday, and that's when the WIAA prefers. So
let's mention some soccer. Obviously, hopefully, if you're watching this on Thursday, you'll know we got some big games going on Thursday night.
Yep.
2 in Division 2 that have some pretty big implications for local teams. We've got Milton, the 5 seed that went to state last year, gets another crack at Oregon.
Seems like about the 10th.
Is it a budding? I guess it's a budding rival. I guess it's still a rivalry. I mean, Oregon has definitely had the upper hand in it, but Milton, the fact that they beat them last year,
and Milton's been playing well. I mean, Milton, that's a convincing semifinal or regional final win for them. I mean, that's 6-0, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean that's.
Well, Wilmot had, I think, the upset Monona Grove, so they had kind of shifted everything in that bracket.
And I would expect a low scoring game. 2-1, something like that. I don't think you're going to see a lot of goals, but. That's the way Oregon plays, but maybe Milton can dictate play and get it up where it's a little bit more one-on-one, so to speak, and if that's the case, then Scotty B maybe can pull his magic off.
Milton at Oregon, and then the winner of that faces the winner of Sauk Prairie at Elkhorn. The Elks, the only team they've really stumbled on all year has been Delavan-Darien, and I think they're 17-3-2 now. I feel like I like their chances, even though I don't really know. Can't say that can sit here and say that I know a whole lot about Sauk Prairie's soccer team.
I've got a chance to see them play about 9 times this year, and they're very offensive.
Yes.
No,
here we are making things up again.
Yes. Elkhorn, just play the way you're capable. Keep it low scoring, get defensive, get a lead. If they get a lead, they're tough because that's when they sit back and really don't allow you to attack. You got to try to find a hole, and most teams can't. So the Elks get ahead early, they're in good shape, and I would probably look for an Elkhorn Oregon sectional championship game, which ought to be real entertaining.
Elkhorn Milton would be kind of
that would be great too. Yes, I would agree.
I would like to see that. Division One, the Big 8 teams that are still rolling. We got Madison East at Middleton and Beloit going to Sun Prairie. And in Division One, the Comets still Division Three.
Yep.
The Comets still kind of rolling along here. Now they get Grafton, the number 4 seed at Delavan-Darien on Thursday night.
No problem. You've
seen Grafton play a lot too.
I've seen him on tape. Yes, Huddle. I was able to watch him play quite a bit, and they're not in Delavan's league. No, but let's face it. I mean, Delavan is. I feel like they're on a mission because of last year's loss to Whitnall. I think those kids all realize that you know what, we got to show up and play, but when we do that, we're as skilled as anybody, and they are. And I would think they would handle Grafton, and then
Grafton won. I have to go back and look for sure, but Grafton won like the 10th round of a shootout or something. Did you see that?
It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy, and like I say, I think
I've never seen anything like that.
The Comets are the more skilled team, and I would think they will find a way. I would 3-0, something like that. That'd be my guess.
And the big event, going on the winners, they'll play in sectional finals on Saturday.
Saturday, right.
And the other big event on Saturday is the cross-country state championships up in Rapids.
Rapids, yep.
Got a chance to go down to the sectional at Beloit on Saturday and see Peyton Sippy, Janesville Craig Jr. win the girls' sectional title, her second win in as many weeks, and she's kind of got it rolling right now.
I was going to say, running with a lot of confidence right now.
I feel like if you once you get a win in one of these big events, I think that really just boosts her confidence. Yeah. And she's just, obviously it's harder than she makes it look. But for the Beloit race is one where I could kind of stand at one spot and see them pass by me like 3 or 4 different times, and it never seemed like she was struggling,
exerting herself,
and then all of a sudden at the end it was just like, all right, see you later.
Yeah.
And that's Trista Pringle is a girl that she's gone back and forth with over the last couple of years, and right now she's got the upper hand, and she was the Big 8 girls runner of the year, and we'll see if maybe she can take a run at a state championship.
And there's always, in boys and girls both, there's always those couple of runners that you don't know anything about because you haven't got a chance to see them or you don't hear about them. Whether it's a kid from Neenah or Hayward or whoever it might be, and that's usually the case. But I honestly think Finn Gessner from La Follette, he's defending champ, and I got to believe that he's going to run away with that boys.
Well, he's going for the state. He's going for the state record.
Yeah, he is.
Think. And everybody, and I think even Nate Farrell, the Craig senior runner, very, very talented runner.
He is.
Basically said, we're all running for second place.
Yeah, and that's true.
And
nothing wrong with that either.
And it isn't. If you're going up against, he's going to wind up maybe one of the best runners in distance runners in state history.
If he breaks 15 minutes, that's crazy.
The state hasn't had any shortage of great runners. No. Chris Solinsky holds the record, I think, at 14:54 or 55, somewhere in there. Only one other runner has ever broke 15, and I think Gessner probably, unless the weather's bad on Saturday, will get his shot to do it.
I think you're right, too, because that's a course that he knows, and it's a course that can be fast if conditions are right, and I think I heard mid-50s, something like that. No rain expected.
Nice,
so and he's been good and really good, and I think that's a race that he'll win. But I think on the girls' side in Division I, I think great chance for Peyton Sippy to get in the top 5. I really do.
I don't think it's out of the realm for her to win the whole thing. There's a lot of girls that are kind of right in the same time frame, and we'll just see who has it at the end.
Who can manage best? Who can leave enough in the tank at the end? They usually say the last 800 meters are the key, and I think most runners will tell you that, if you can stay with the lead pack, if you're confident enough in your kick, the last 800 meters is when you make your move. And I think she's certainly, the way she's ran lately, the last month, she's capable of doing that.
Farrell looking to kind of improve on 2 back-to-back eighth place finishes. Yep. I think he probably will, somewhere a little higher than that, reach the podium again, which was great for him 3 times in doing that. We'll keep our eye on Delavan-Darien's Aaron Sorg, who I think has a chance in the
year.
D2 girls race to make some noise and contend for a title. There were a couple Evansville runners, like you said. Sometimes things come out of nowhere, and
you don't expect.
You saw the Rock Valley Conference
I did.
meet, and they weren't.
It was all Rock
there,
Valley.
so.
It was all the North kids and the Evansville girls. I mean, to their credit, they weren't there then, but boy, they were certainly there last Saturday.
If I looked at the numbers right, they shaved a minute off their times.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts.
That is crazy.
We'll see. It should be fun to see what those area runners can do up at state cross country. On the college football scene, we got another top 10 team coming to town.
Yeah, the Cornhuskers, bring them on. They don't scare me. They haven't played anybody. They barely beat Purdue. Purdue's terrible.
Seriously, they haven't played anybody.
They haven't. No, Oregon, who maybe you thought was good, and
they're ranked
terrible.
7th because they haven't lost. But
no,
who should they have lost to?
Yeah, well, and who they played, I can't even name
Oregon.
who they played. Yeah, Oregon.
They're real good this year.
They stink. We lost Sitchy. That's going to hurt. But next man up. That's what Paul Chris says. And I think the one thing people are kind of curious about right now is he going to stay with a 2-quarterback platoon, or is he just going to give them each, give Houston one series a half? And if he produces, it's hard to go away from that. And if Hornibrook's struggling, is he going to be quick to?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'd like to just see Hornibrook keep going, and if he is faltering and you just need to give him a break to take a minute and maybe study some things, then give Houston a chance on a drive. But if he can find the hot hand that he's had at times through these first couple of weeks, just kind of roll with him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't. I understand his philosophy, and that's fine. But it's hard to name a 2-quarterback system that's worked.
Never does.
It never does, just because.
If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
Right, exactly. It worked for Whitewater, UW, for a while, but they've, like you said, they've kind of settled on Cole Wilbur, and the Warhawks are kind of on cruise control now. I mean, they don't really play anybody up to the regular season left. And
hopefully the Badgers can find themselves in the same boat. If you can beat Nebraska, the rest of your schedule looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. And I think they'll beat Nebraska, and then I think other than the trip to Evanston to play Northwestern, I think it should be a cakewalk.
Can you just imagine what this defense would do though if it had all of its parts for 12 games? I mean, lost Orr on the first play of the season. Beagle back now, but he was out for a couple of games there. The two biggest games of the year. Yeah, Segapolu's been out. Now Sitchy. This is a darn good defense, one of the best in the country, but it hasn't been full strength since the first play of the season.
And it continues like we said. It's next man up, and they've gotten the job done. And the offense, I think Corey Clement is kind of back to where we thought he should be and expected him to be, and he's had back-to-back good weeks, and that means the line's getting a little bit more confident. With Hornibrook, I think Jazz Peavy's kind of been his go-to guy, which I'm okay with that because he's obviously talented.
They got some random guys in the mix on Saturday, though.
Fumagalli has
to
been, he's been a guy that they can count on as well. So I think with Nebraska, I don't know much about them other than they haven't played anybody, but
seems like you just got to slow down Tommy Armstrong.
I think you're right, and then make things happen and hope that Beagle and Watt can.
Nebraska quarterbacks have not had a real good faring against Wisconsin.
No, they have not.
Since they joined the Big Ten.
No.
You call up Taylor Martinez and ask him how that goes.
How that went, yeah. Well, and ask him how it went last time when they faced Melvin Gordon, who only ran for 400,000 yards in one game. But
hopefully another night game at Camp Randall, Freak Fest, the whole Halloween thing going out there.
Madison will be State Street will be the place to be, especially after they whip up on those Cornhuskers. So they'll get a win. Whitewater will get a win. I think.
What do you think I should wear a costume to Camp Randall?
Take the mask off you're wearing now and put something else on. that's fine. It's not a big deal.
That's very hurtful.
You got to put a costume on, don't you? It's Halloween. It's Halloween weekend.
I've never been much of a costume guy.
Well, put on get a referee shirt or something and a whistle and one of those red and white canes that that they use, and that would be a perfect referee's costume.
Especially, you mean dress up as one of the guys from the Mount Horeb Delavan game?
Yes, one of the referees that doesn't know the overtime rules.
Got to get one more.
One more dig in there. That's good.
What about on the NFL side of things? The Packers coming off now they got a long week to kind of recover and regroup after playing on Thursday night, and we got to see all-pro running back Ty Montgomery in action.
Yeah. Against a team that's barely an NFL quality, the Bears, who are just terrible. But Rodgers got well. Big night for him, but I would expect that against the Bears. They didn't put up any fight, and now
kind of an interesting matchup, I think, going to Atlanta.
I agree.
The Falcons, they have been good at times. They've kind of struggled at other times. I'd say they're healthier. But
who matches up with Julio Jones?
Yeah, does Julio just get like 500 yards?
Yeah, they have nobody to match up against him. I might let him get his 300 yards receiving and just shut down the rest of them. But I think Green Bay's going to be able to score too. It's indoors, and I think with the Packers, with guys that they've got, hopefully Nelson can get loose. Cobb and Devontae Adams was crazy last week. I mean, he wasn't even. People were saying he was about the number one waiver wire pickup for fantasy football, and I can see why. I mean, he almost set a Packer record with catches in one game, and that's a guy who you weren't sure half the time when they threw him the ball if he'd catch it or not. So, big week for the Packers and a big game for them because Minnesota losing last weekend, they're now only a game out of first, and they're right where I think they wanted to be because I still think when all is said and done, they're the best team in that division.
And maybe we'll see some more Niall Davis this week.
I bet we will. We'll have to, yeah. I mean, especially if Montgomery gets dinged up or something, they're down to, nobody. I don't know if they can.
Don Jackson.
Yeah, John Brockington can come out of retirement, or Turdell Middleton, or Eddie Lee Ivory, or any of those guys.
Some of those guys they brought up from the practice squad this week, I was like, who? What?
Ooh, Jackson? Who's that guy?
Not him. I even kind of knew him, but this week was he like, there were 2 or 3 more names that I was just like, where are we getting these guys?
Like I know he's hurt.
You're getting called up next week.
I know he's hurt. They just put him on IR, but I would have put Aberderis back there because I saw him in high school at Watoma, and they couldn't catch him. I mean, he was.
Yeah, you got to be healthy, kind of.
I know he's never healthy. It's too bad because he's got talent, but between the concussions and everything else, he's just never been healthy. And obviously, it tells you that there's a little difference between the collegiate level and the professional level, and he's found that out.
So you're expecting more of a high-scoring game than we saw Sunday night between Seattle and Arizona.
That set football back many times, and to miss those field goals at the end that were both chip shots. I mean, Hushka's wasn't even close. I mean, Hushka, however you say his name, he wasn't even close on his. The other guy, at least he hit the goalpost, but just ugly. I mean, Carson Palmer and Wilson were okay, but there were so many things in that game. The lowest scoring game, what they say after the third quarter, that didn't have a touchdown. I mean, there were just so many things that were bad about that game. It was just bad, and it seems like they can't get a good night game, like a game in primetime. Whether those Thursday night games have been a joke, the Sunday night games have not been good. Monday night's game was not good. I mean, nothing's competitive. They're not close, and they wonder why ratings are down. Well, a lot of it, I think, is the whole Kaepernick issue with the flag and everything else, because people will say that they refuse to watch something that has that going on. But
the rules, I think,
yeah,
is
the
a big
rules
thing.
and the matchups.
What's a catch anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten so political instead of just going back to playing smash mouth football and letting guys play. And they know what they're signing up for. They know what they're doing when you play football. You know it's a violent contact sport, and you know the repercussions of concussions and injuries and the short shelf life and everything else. You know that going in. So just get back to playing football. Is it violent? Yes, but that's what people want to see. They don't want to see the quarterback wear a skirt and get protected, and receivers, you can't go anywhere near them. Can't have a hit over the middle. You can't hit a receiver that's not ready to get. I mean, there's so many rules now that favor the offense that I agree. It's gotten kind of mundane in a way, and it's too bad.
Somebody put a quarter in you.
They did.
I didn't know we signed up for the John Barry rant this afternoon.
Yeah, it's just I'm in a mood, because my Dolphins are bad again, so
yeah,
got nothing else.
That rant brought to you by, I don't know, we
need
a sponsorship.
That was brought
if you want to
us
sponsor
by,
John Barry's weekly rant,
there's
one. There's one, for example,
that
we
is
could sponsor.
So. Well, Coors Light would be a good sponsor for that.
As far as a Packer pick, I kind of been going back and forth, so you're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Sunday's paper, we always got the picks. You could probably, if you follow along, you probably know what John Barry.
You're probably gonna go with the Falkies. Yes, I probably.
Maybe you'll want to call sound off about it.
Since that's the thing.
That's
heated up on again too, so that's fine. That means they're reading it. That's all I care about.
That's probably about all. Anything else on your mind?
I got nothing
week?
else. Nope.
Good. We'll end it there.
Okay.
You can let us know if you think the Packers are going to beat the Falcons, or if you're following along with the high school football. Let us know by leaving us a comment on YouTube or iTunes, or email us at sports@gazetteextra.com. Find us on Twitter. We'll be covering soccer matches Thursday and football on Friday, so you can follow along there. And we say thanks to Angela for shooting the video, and Vaughn for putting it together, and Kevin McLeod for the tunes. And we'll sort things out here again next week on Extra Points.
Go Bucky.